Good morning. So this week is kind of an odd week in that it's a holiday, happy Thanksgiving, and I know families have a lot going on. And in the past, people who have children, they're off of school and stuff. So this is a busy week. And of course, Black Friday, if anyone Black Fridays anymore. But in any case, we're going to use this week to tie together, as I've been pointing out to you the last few weeks, units 7, 8, 9, and 10 all really fit together. You have to understand 7 completely to understand 8. You have to integrate what you know from 7 into 8. You have to integrate 8 into 9. And that's where we are right now. We just finished Unit 9. It's very important you understand those completely. So what we're going to do this week, and by the way, our final exam is coming up soon in a few weeks. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to be sure before we approach Unit 10 next week, we're going to be sure we understand the integration between 7, 8, and 9. So there's a podcast that I'm going to ask you to listen to. It's about, I don't know, 50, 55 minutes or something. Be sure when you listen, at the end of the podcast, they do the whole podcast and then they say, is there anything more that the guests want to say? Be sure you listen to that more that the guests want to say as well, because that's very important. You're going to listen to the whole thing, and it's really about electrons. Really in units 7, 8, 9, and 10 as well, we're going to be focusing on electrons. So we need to really understand electrons. Now, these, as you can see, the speakers in this podcast are physicists. Really, this is where physics and chemistry kind of combine or overlap when we're talking about atoms. When we're talking about the structure of atoms, that's kind of physicsy, atomic theory. But then the effect of that is all chemistry. So what we're going to do is this week, we're going to go ahead and listen to that podcast. And I suggest listen slowly. I mean, in other words, stop, make sure you've absorbed what they say, and go back and listen again if you need to. And then there's a whole series of questions. So in essence, what you're going to do, and you can answer each question as separate questions. They should not be an entire paragraph or entire paper kind of integrated. Each one's a separate question. Answer that question. You may and probably want to include some pictures in there in your answers where appropriate. Answer them completely. Now, what you're going to need to do is the questions are not obvious. They're not just recall, like what's the name of the speaker. What they are is their integration. What they're going to do is tie together 7, 8, 9. So what we're doing now is we're seeing how they all fit together to make sure that's clear before we go on to 10 and 11, which both apply. So you're going to need, the answers aren't right in the podcast. You're going to need to think about this. You may need to talk to your classmates about it. You may need to talk to me. You may need to really think through what this all means as you answer your questions. And that will be due on Sunday. So you can do it whenever you want. There's no videos this week. There's no new information this week. It's all, again, review to tie it together. In addition, I would highly recommend, in addition this week, there is a POGIL, which kind of also ties in what we've done, but hopefully it gives a little more meaning to some of the words we've been using. So that POGIL will be due on Sunday. And I suggest if you have any time this week to begin reviewing for the final exam. Go back to Unit 1, go back to Unit 2. We're going to be doing units up until the end of the semester. There's not going to be time to just review for the final so much. So I'd start reviewing now, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. Those were kind of the basic units. Unit 5 and 6, 5 was gases, 6 was thermo, and then we're at 7, 8, 9. So I would go back and I'd start looking at Units 1 and 4, reminding yourself what's in there, looking at those objectives, being sure you understand how to do those objectives, and start making yourself kind of a review sheet, cheat sheet, whatever you want to call it, of that information. So it starts coming back in your head, and so you're more prepared and not panicked at the end of the semester. That's what we have this week. Next week, we'll finish up this 7, 8, 9, 10 thing with Unit 10. So do you guys have any quick questions about what I just said? Okay, then have a very good week. Have a great Thanksgiving, you guys, and let me know if you have any questions.